The wreckage of a small boat? This isn't the place. Got it. Time to go up and report. As expected, we found a few pieces of rope and some anchoring stones underwater. If you attach them to a floating... With this anchoring system, it would be possible to use floating barrels for the drop-off. We also came across the wreckage of a small boat. It must have been left out on the water and capsized due to the force of the wind and waves. Its small size, however...
Let's talk this through. Based on the evidence we've collected, it seems like Pierre would row a small boat out to the agreed-upon transfer point, drop off the barrels, leave, and then row back and retrieve them after the transfer was complete.
It could be that he was trying to avoid meeting up with his associate face-to-face. As one of the sole survivors of the Lefebvre family, maybe he was just used...
It seems like Pierre deliberately chose the floating barrel method so that the goods could be dropped off and picked up at separate times. That way, the two parties wouldn't have to meet each other.
Well, if that's the case, they must not have a very close working relationship.
Let's not jump to any conclusions just yet. Assumptions can be detrimental to solving a case. It's possible. The most important thing is that we can now confirm Pierre wasn't acting alone. The floating... Let's say for now that he was only in charge of producing the imitation synth. That would mean there has to be at least one other person involved.
Since we've determined that the goods were transported by boat, maybe we can track down some travel...
We can certainly check the various ports for that information. It's possible, however, that Pierre's associate also used a... Absolutely. Before Pierre disappeared, we made sure to investigate all sorts of outward-bound vessels. We also had port authority. Unfortunately, we were never able to find out how they managed to get the imitation synth across the border. You're right. Whatever vessel was used for the pickup, the person responsible for smuggling the substance out of Fontaine would have had to use a larger vessel for the actual train. They must have found a way to disguise the imitation synth to clear port inspections. Exactly. We can't let any opportunities slip through the cracks. Although, given the amount of ports that could be involved,
I'll run home and ask some of my brothers and sisters to try and dig up some information.
I should also head back and update my platoon on our progress. I'll grab some reinforcements while I'm at it.
All right. Come on, Bonnie. You too.
Faster? Okay, faster. Faster? Okay, faster. Faster? Okay, faster.
Oh, Lynette, Traveler. And Bonnie, too.
Did something happen?
Oh. I see. I'm in charge of guarding the port. You mentioned you were after some travelogue.
Looks like I've got another hard day of work ahead of me. No, not usually. It's this incident that happened recently. Before that, everything was normal. All we had to do was confiscate anything suspicious and we could call it a day. Pretty simple stuff. But things are much more complicated now. We somehow let suspicious cargo pass through the port undetected. Not even our guard poodles were able to sniff it out.
By suspicious cargo, do you mean imitation synth?
Yep. However, prohibited substances are just one example. We confiscate...
So what happens to the goods you confiscate?
Oh, we keep them in a storage locker. If they turn out to be something particularly dubious, well, if the goods are only slightly suspicious but could otherwise be harmless, like raw materials that could potentially be used to create contraband, we return them to the ship they were confiscated from, instead of letting...
Sorry for the wait. These are the
Oh, you brought Gerard with you.
Actually, he followed me here himself. It's... Huh. I wonder why Gerard is reacting to you two so strongly.
Huh? We were so careful not to touch it, but we still ended up with traces on us. If it leaves a residue so easily, I just don't understand how the culprit was...
Why don't you have a look at the travel logs first? All ships coming in and out of the port are recorded here, except...
The Humane Society. Their name is all over the exit logs. The purpose for leaving is always listed as overseas...
The director of the organization explained that, actually. He said a lot of the cat and dog breeds unique to Fontaine are also very popular overseas.
Bernard, the director of the Humane Society, was the man who came looking... Have you figured it out too, Traveler? The way the... When Bernard asked to take a closer look at Bonnie, he was actually checking whether there was any imitation synth in her stomach.
Wait, what?
The sealed bags we found at the secret base. They were specially made to be corrosion resistant. There were gaps around the lids of the barrels, and airbags were used to keep them upright in the water. Those drug shovers found at the secret base, she most likely didn't recognize them because they're not used on human beings. It's an anesthetic used... Pierre must have made the animals swallow the sealed bags full of imitation synth at his secret base. Then he...
The sealed bags combined with an animal's body odor would certainly be enough to mask the scent.
During our inspections, we would have never thought to inspect the bellies of those animals for anything suspicious.
Exactly. I bet Bernard even transported animals with synth in their stomach. She's probably in the clear. Otherwise, Bernard would have never left without her. I'm guessing he didn't know whether Pierre... Just imagine. He sees the notice If Pierre had already hidden the next batch of imitation synth, then Bonnie would practically be living proof of their crimes.
So, that's why he came to find you and insisted on taking a closer look at the cat.
Wait a second, I'm a little lost here. I get the part about hiding the substance in the pets, but if you've got something as convenient as a floating barrel, why not just stuff it with the imitation synth directly? Why not?
In order to make sure the animals could swallow the sealed bags, they made them extremely thin. Had they not done that, the animals would have likely bitten or chewed through them. That step would have required a lot of energy, as well as a certain amount of technical We've already proven how easy it is to pick up trace amounts of imitation synth, so I'm sure Bernard was taking all...
Okay, then let's head to the Humane Society right... The headquarters of the Humane Society should be somewhere...
Ah, here are the people from earlier. Wait.
After him! We can't let him get away! Give it up, Bernard.
Mercy. Have mercy.
The Humane Society has done so much good over...
Look, I didn't have a choice, okay? My father cared about those blasted animals so much, he didn't bother to take care of his...
No one asked.
Well, after I took over the Humane Society, it gradually became harder and harder. It's said that I could stand to get a large sum of money as long as I helped them to transport some animals abroad. It was only after... But then, Pierre wrote to me, saying that we were already partners in crime and that I better keep cooperating. I would order wooden barrels and flotation devices according to his instructions. And a few days after that, I'd come by again in my boat and pick up the animals sleeping in the barrels. That guy Pierre, he was running the entire... Look, I don't know, okay? I've never ever met...
And when did he send his final letter?
Just last night, he said that the Marechaussee Phantom is now after him, so he's planning to go into hiding for some time.
It's been a few days since Pierre's last appearance. I'd wager...
I burned them. It was on his orders. I had to burn every letter after reading them.
Sure sounds like you're trying to use the lack of witnesses or evidence to...
No, I swear, this time I'm...
Well, we can check the truth of your statements at the Opera House.
I know, I swear I was...
My thanks to you both.
Bonnie helped, too.
That's... And it looks like she's grown quite fond of you two as well. Now behave, and follow me to the interrogation room.